We'll fire this thing up. All right, this is the Lunenburg Water District Commissioners Meeting, June 28th, 2023. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Minutes are going around, warrants are going around.
I'm reading the minutes right now.
Okay, so why don't we go to number 3, discuss salary of employees. Is that a closed door conversation, or is it just, what's
We
the?
discussed, PJ,
Yep,
you know, when he was hired, we talked that we bump his pay if he's, started getting his licenses. The kid's doing awesome. He got his grade 1 distribution, grade 1 treatment. He's doing his CDL stuff, so he's got his permit. They're doing the testing now for the training, for the driving part.
July to August, he does
We
a
have
class to get his
backhoe
hydraulics
license,
license, so within
okay,
8 months, he's gonna
I'd
have
like to-
everything.
I'd give him a boost.
okay. I thought,
It's in the budget. So.
okay, okay, if it's budgeted and we discussed it before, because I think we typically discuss those not in an open meeting?
No, we discussed, we'll usually say percentages.
Yeah.
Right.
In the open meeting.
Is it gonna be a percentage or gonna be a
I'm
dollar?
thinking dollars per hour.
Yeah, I am too. That
Okay.
percentage
I would-
never seems to
I
work
would
out.
think it's gotta be similar to some type of a step or grade that we've done in the past. Because
Well,
he's
really low in pay.
He's really low.
I know,
because-
but he's getting up in licensing and
Oh, yeah.
and experience.
Right.
So
That's why I wanna make
typically,
sure.
as you get those, don't we bump people up?
Between Ethan and Greg leaving, we have like a void, you might say,
Yes.
in the payroll. So I'm all about.
I know the money's there, I just wanna make sure
Yeah,
we're using the correct
we've-
process.
We've never actually said, hey, you get your license, you get this raise.
Okay,
Typically is, we expect you to get your licenses for next year, and then when it comes time for raises for next year, then we do it. But there's no set policy of where your pays go. Your pays will
I
be.
think he was started low, and then it was right when we were in the talks of doing our budget and getting the raises and everything there, and we just didn't include him in that part because he was just hired, he was very new. But in the time between being hired and our fiscal year starting next week, he
Right, this
has
is water end.
really stepped up. I mean, he's,
Can we talk numbers openly
I
here?
don't know, can we, I think we are,
Are you gonna
Yes.
talk about a specific salary, or what are you looking at for raise numbers?
What he's making and what he's going to, or is that closed door
I
stuff?
mean-
no, that's not, because it's all
Yeah.
public. I have to,
Yes.
Yeah.
the town asked me for some of that knowledge
He's
too.
22.
He's
He's at
22?
22.
Oh, gee.
Okay. And
What do you-
I'm curious. Ethan was at 24.
21.
He was at, no.
24.
He was at 24.
Oh, 24, okay.
Yeah.
So are you looking to put him where Ethan was, or
I'd like to give him $5 an hour.
I was gonna say 3, but I'll agree with 5. If he's got all his stuff and he's
We're
gonna
afraid
have,
we're gonna lose them.
I know, he
yeah, we
is-
don't wanna
Well, that's
lose
the
any
thing.
more
He gets
good
all that-
guys.
that stuff
We got
and go
good
somewhere
guys
else
now.
and make
That's-
more.
That's the thing, the water people are so competitive.
Yeah.
People are going everywhere for the money, so
Yep.
I wanna make sure we do.
I've
it.
had nothing but positive experience with that kid. He's
Yeah.
doesn't
I
talk a
should-
lot, but I mean,
I
he's,
would-
he's-
I showed up at the break to check in and then went back and everything. He was standing next to Fran almost the whole time, asking questions, if not down in the hole. Why am I doing this? And asked everything. I mean, like,
Okay.
he's,
I
So
agree with you,
I'm-
Woody.
I'm fine with Woody, but you should also have a conversation with him, and everything is getting more competitive
Oh,
out there.
I talked to him today about it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So, if, I hate to, is it enough to keep him on a track
I
with
think
us?
so.
I think so for now. I think this would
right.
be good.
Sure.
And again,
once again, this will
we
come
have
back to
next
it.
fiscal year. This gets him for this fiscal year,
Right.
for July.
He was started off at a introductory rate, you might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's obviously proved himself very well, and I got
Yeah.
no
So
problem.
good.
So it's gonna start July
So
1st?
July 1st.
Yep,
Good.
So,
and then we see how things go and we have discussion for budget for next year.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we start budget talks in
Sure.
6 months
Right.
anyways.
I think it's
It's
equal, I mean, if you
7
take,
months.
heavy equipment operator for DPW, which he's gonna be licensed to do everything that guy can do.
Yeah.
Plus, he's gonna be a water operator.
Does he have his hydraulics? Or
He's
did-
taking a class to
Okay.
do it.
So
and
having
he can
like
get his
3
license
weeks,
and
hopefully he'll
everything.
have it.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm definitely that, and then
Yep.
it would be coming back to the table that if you get someone with a, you know, we'll see what he's got then, but
Yeah.
hydraulics,
Yep.
CDL, like, it's just,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then just in consideration of next year, we need to start making sure that we are maybe
They
doing
just
another.
released, is it Mass Waterworks or New England Waterworks?
Mass Water.
Mass Waterworks just released another salary survey.
Okay.
So we just filled that out, so usually that's a couple months.
And they give
We'll
you
get the
input back?
results.
Okay.
Yeah, they give a whole
Good.
detailed benefits, everything, so we'll have
Yeah,
that.
because it's everywhere. I mean, I know you know, people are trying to play catch up. I'm playing catch up with what I do, and
Yep.
so, okay.
So what did we agree?
Yeah.
I'll go with Woody's recommendation, because
Okay.
I'm paying guys with less experience and less.
So up to
I'm paying
27.
them
Yeah.
more.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
and obviously, I mean, we'll continue to talk to him, work with him, and, you know, we want him to
Yep.
become a long-term productive member, but I get no problem paying for service, and I think
Okay.
he does a good job.
Okay.
What's this continuing education for Matt? I'm just kinda curious.
Oh, he paid, before he started, he had paid to take his test.
Okay.
And so we were
For
just
his water.
reimbursing him for taking the T1
Understood.
test, that's all,
No
yeah.
problem.
And actually, what I'll probably have to do then is
I signed-
do
I signed
2
them all.
new payroll warrants with
You sign that one too?
Increase.
So.
increase.
That's my signature right there.
Yeah. So 2 of these that are
Birch is
here.
on
we
The
there?
need-
2 that are there,
Oh, I
I'll
didn't
print
sign
off
it.
before you guys
Really?
leave, just put the new signatures on
There's-
this.
there's
I only
one
seen
thing
2
on
of
there
them.
You guys probably didn't pick up.
You're gonna have to probably re-sign that
Oh,
anyway.
yeah,
No, the monograms by Anita.
no, at the very, 3, 4 down?
The expensive one.
Yeah, not the Mass Clean Water one.
Well, he's gawking at that, John. You wanna make a motion for the minutes of,
All right, I make a motion that
Durant.
we take the minutes of June 14th.
We pick up the new truck tomorrow.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye. Sorry.
Okay, those are signed.
Discuss PFAS treatment funding options.
Yes, yeah, that was your request. to put that on there. We were like, what did he want to talk about? But that was.
No, I would just, I know we are consistently looking at whether we can get any funding for studies, design, and installation, and I think we're on top of that.
Yeah, and I think that was more tied to if we don't receive any ARPA funding, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna fund it? And I think that's more in line of, I think where you were thinking, well, what are we gonna do? And that would be honestly very difficult to do, because, you know, our money's allocated for the painting of the tank. If we do any projects, it's gonna have to come from that account, so somehow we're gonna be in a downfall
So
future.
I'd like to see where the ARPA funding goes and
Yeah,
what
then
we
we'll see.
get. And then if there's things, I have a sneaking suspicion we're not gonna get everything that we're asking for. But maybe we'll get something.
Yeah.
And if we want to really look at those items that we were requesting funding for and decide whether we want to try to complete the whole package, then we have to have a special meeting. So I guess my thought would be is that we have some articles somewhat ready, just in case we have to have a special meeting for, I don't know where the district expansion is going.
Yeah. We
Haven't heard anything.
We haven't gotten
No.
a revised application from them?
Right, and typically you submit your request and in
Are we
your
talking about Bar
request,
Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
in your request is the actual article that you wanna have the special meeting
Right.
for. And that's where I said, well, we're not gonna write the article.
Right.
No.
Because that's what the attorney's
Well, we
gonna say.
haven't,
And
we haven't
I-
heard anything, right?
Last I reached out to them is exactly what he said, plus our attorney said they need to put specific boundaries. You can't just say in the area of One
Right.
Two Birch, they need to say following parcel number, whatever.
Yeah, it has to be
you
like
know,
a deed and
Oh,
all that.
absolutely. Yeah.
What the actual new district would be. So
Yeah.
that was, I left it with them and they haven't reached out.
Have they requested a special meeting?
No, not yet.
No, because they didn't.
Well, they tried.
Yeah.
I sent
Yeah,
it back to
okay.
them because of legal counsel and said,
Yeah.
you need to you need to resubmit this with more information, and they haven't done that
All
yet.
right.
All right. So as far as like that is concerned, like, I mean, I understand that may come up, but like, that's a maybe, yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
I think if it doesn't, I think we should have depending upon what we get for funding and what we can accomplish, we may want to consider having a special meeting before the March meeting. If we can fulfill our financial need some other way. But I don't think we, if we don't
financial need for what?
for the
If we don't get the funding
for the
from the
requests
ARPA.
that we have for ARPA. If we don't get any money, then I think we gotta kick the thing down the road. We'll go to the next annual meeting and.
What thing are we talking about?
We're talking
We're talking about everything we've requested money for
Okay.
from the ARPA
Okay.
funding.
Sorry,
The
we were on a
pilot,
couple
the
different-
Yeah,
pilot.
we went from Burbridge to ARPA
Okay, the
yeah.
pilot studies
Understood.
for the two
So he's saying if
remaining.
we get the pilot study money, but they don't give us the
Sure,
master
the-
plan or the educational money,
Right.
that's when we should talk and say, do we want to fund it
I-
as the district?
I agree.
So we have the whole package together. Well, let's wait till we figure out what
Let's see
ARPA's
what they
gonna
give us,
decide.
and then
Yeah.
with that amount of money, I'm making it up, let's say they give us 250 grand.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we have this, and this is gonna cost this much. How do we want to fund this gap? You know?
That's that's what he's saying. Let's wait and see what we get.
So
if we
that's
get
what I'm saying,
any.
we're guesstimating, we have estimates on what the pilot study would cost. But if they don't fund the full amount,
How do we
we're
pay?
gonna have to have a special meeting to try to get some funds. I don't think it's worth a special meeting for us to fund all of it ourselves. I think we can push this all
Oh,
to the next
absolutely.
meeting.
Right.
It's important that we don't, because the faster we get the pilot studies
Right.
done, the more in line we are for some of the
They
funding.
said in that, the select board said, what did they say? They had about a month that they were gonna decide. They're not meeting July 5th.
July 11th is their
Their
next meeting, and.
They still weren't making any decisions that night, it made it sound like though.
No, but she did email, Heather did email yesterday or Monday and said, there was a few questions that I have. One was regarding the ARPA funding. They had asked if the RFP was needed. And then she
Right.
also asked that the selectmen were requesting our pay, our
Job.
job description of when we hired Matt. They want to know, like, if they were in line, because that came up, I believe,
Yeah, they were.
one of the selectmen had asked about it, why he left, what we're paying. So I haven't answered her yet because I knew we were working on this letter. So once this is done, I'll email her that and email her the ad that we
Why
had.
don't they ask Matt?
They are, they have
did.
been talking to
Oh.
him. But she had asked me what we advertised the position for and what we were looking for and pay grade and everything like that, which is all public.
Yeah, but
Record.
what's the, what's,
I think boy, we're really going on 7 different things here.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
In talking, I believe that there has more to do with maybe on the DPW end of things, or
Yes,
is
it
they
sounded like
appropriately
they just-
pay, but they're just trying to figure out to maintain.
Just like us.
they're just
In
like,
her
they're like
email,
us.
Just like everybody.
when we were hiring, I called around to all the different towns and I said, what do you pay?
Right.
So that's all. She's just asking to see if the DPW is falling in line. But anyways,
Okay.
Right.
talking about it, it sounded like they were looking for some of the answers of what you guys were looking at, and we're hoping to have those for the July 11th meeting.
All right. So we're gonna fire this response off to her.
Yes,
So that-
so that they have it, they can digest it,
Sure.
and then hopefully, I
And I
think
would-
we should go on the 11th.
I would follow up
Yep.
prior to make sure that if they have any added questions to that. I unfortunately am not available the 11th.
Oh, I'll go.
Okay.
Before. July 11th.
are we all gonna sign this one last instead of having
No,
three
I
of
think it
these?
just needs to go. It's going as an email. I think.
Okay.
So do you want me to just have your names at the bottom,
Just-
just
yeah.
the signature
Yeah.
thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to wait and see what's coming.
Sure.
For the opera funding.
I agree.
And then if there are any, you know, when they decide an amount, then, you know, it sounds like we may get something, but how do we utilize it with what our requests are? And if we have to find money to fill the void,
I guess my other maybe
know.
question here is, we've requested X amount. If they only give us Y amount, how do we, what is our responsibility in prioritizing how we spend that money?
To me, I'd
do we
rather-
have to do a little bit
I
on
was gonna
each,
follow
or
up because, and say, do they get to dictate
yes.
what, like, if they look
Okay.
at it and they say, you're asking, I forget the
was
exact
45,
amount,
I
say you're
believe.
asking for, they're only gonna give us the pilot study money. If they're saying, we're gonna allocate $250,000 for you, for the pilot study, so then that has to go to it.
okay.
So-
I would prefer it to be that way, so there's no question about.
At the end.
Yeah, where the
At the
funds
end
go.
of the day, I mean, in watching some of the sewer and what we're doing, you know, if they get money for certain things, then they're gonna use the money that they had allocated for those things for something else that's unforeseen. Cause they have some unforeseen expenses
Sure.
coming down the road, as do we. So, to me, it would be, I guess I don't know if they can be specific, but if you're not gonna fund the totality of what we're asking for, then just say for, you know, improvements such as,
Sure.
Yeah.
you know.
I guess I just want to make sure, because I understand that, you know, I've read quite a bit into that ARPA, like there is a receipt for it, like
Yeah.
they need
Yeah.
to see, and there's also deadlines on when you spend that money,
Yeah.
et cetera, so.
Right, and if we're somewhere in the middle, like if they give us enough to do a study and a half, we still need to have a special meeting and see where we can allocate to fill the gap, if we can. Of course, it's gonna come from something else down the road, and that's where we got it.
Well, right, I guess, you know, let's be prepared, but kind of cross that bridge when it comes
Yeah.
to it, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
I agree. I think I would spend all the money we can on the testing.
I would
Yeah.
too.
And then the secondary, I mean, I think they're important, but the secondary is the public education and the master plan. I think they're equally important to get information out there so people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, but.
I guess let's see how they say it. The public information I was a big fan of. I kind of think that would, I think it would help a lot of questions, you know, I mean, that's just what I think, but let's see what they say, so.
And there's nothing new coming for funding or anything more that you hear.
No, the SRF applications can start being submitted in June, so we've already been talking. They want to sit down with, they think, one of you, not necessarily as a board, but one of you to kind of get some ideas on what your process wants to be on you know, land and sizing.
Oh, you're talking, yeah.
Time bond, yeah.
For the Hickory Hills.
Not just Hickory, all of them, you know, because
Oh.
we're gonna do SRF application for all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and
Okay.
it's all one big giant loan, so it's not gonna be, you know, Lancaster Ave, it's gonna be all.
Kind of one of
you
the
know.
things we gotta go worst case
Yeah.
scenario. Where is the treatment plant gonna be worst case? So that when we put it in for it,
So that's what he wants to make sure he has adequate cushions in the numbers, just so that whatever we do, you can always go less, but you really can't go more. So he wants to make sure they're gonna cover everything that you guys think. That
Yeah,
you wanna
that's
do.
coming up pretty
And this-
quick. He said we need to-
Almost last week he
Yeah.
mentioned it, so.
yep.
Well,
I think we need to have an idea on what we think granted, it's not gonna be an involved master plan, but at least maybe a concept, you know,
Like
of
that
basically
budgeting wise number, like, we believe this is gonna cost X amount.
the
of millions of
direction
dollars.
the direction that we're going, why we're going that direction, and just something that is maybe down.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's kind of how the thing about the master plan and the letter that you're gonna send.
Yeah.
Was pretty much what you said. You know, we can't say, hey, let's do treatment on these two wells. Well, now we don't have enough water, you know? so
Right.
So that's where the master plan needs to coordinate and set things up. All right, let's do the treatment plan for this one, get this one online, and then let's do this one, you know, and then this one, and that way they both can compensate, cover each other.
I think we have an idea of what we would like to see as a master plan.
But
But it would be best to have our ideas,
because
you know, look through and verified from an engineering perspective.
My concern is, it seems like everything you order nowadays is back ordered for 2 years. So if all the water supplies are going and putting in this PFAS resin
Stuff, right?
granular activated carbon, whatever it is, okay, you're on back order for 2 years, you can't do that. All right, so now what? Okay, well, let's do this one with this method. So the whole thing, this might be the master plan at the beginning, but as time goes on, then you need some professional guidance on, you know, if that doesn't go as planned, to move it to, you know, a correct way that you still can get everything done, and still have the adequate supply to feed the people.
Yeah. Trying to think the best way to do that. Is
Well-
it something that if one of us did it, then we'd still we're gonna bring it to the whole board at some
Yeah,
point?
and if you want to do it, we could do it as a board meeting. You know, maybe if you guys are up for doing maybe a
A workshop or-
kind of thing.
We could do a work, if we could get the guys from Ty and Bond and kind of get an idea and get an idea. No, it wouldn't be
Set in
fully
stone.
analyzed, but at least conceptually, a master plan.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's tied to that opera fund, we'll see how that
Right.
goes, and then we'll start.
I guess the first step here is let's see what we get for
Right.
monies, for fundings on that. But then I do agree that, like, I view that as part of like that 20-year forecast we're already doing, is how are we gonna do this? You're right, we can't do it as like, it's gonna be this and we're doing it this way.
Yeah, treat this
You
well,
know.
then treat this well,
But the things we
then
could
treat
do
this
is we
well type
could
thing.
we could solidify where will we put the building, blah, 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 blah. Like, those are the things I think there's some things we definitely could do, and may have to have variants of the actual treatment availability.
Right.
But like, you know, as far as like what the well's pumping, we have a lot of data right now that it needs to, this treatment facility is gonna have to do the Keating's well, and they're all their numbers, so like, there's a lot we know. And so I think it's worth the time and effort to try to put that in, and then,
And there's a few things we need to understand conceptually.
Sure.
If we have to modify, if we modify, what are we looking at for additional costs? And then it's gonna be up to the voters at that point.
correct.
Do you know who else the selectmen are considering for this money? Are they,
Oh, there's a bunch.
There's a whole.
There's a slew across the boards, for it. And everybody, you know, everybody has a need, whether it all falls directly
Everybody
under
has a
NAPA.
desire, let's say that.
Yeah, everybody has a desire. Yep. And a need. There's a need.
Oh, there's plenty,
needs.
absolutely.
But
well,
I don't wanna downplay anybody else's,
Sure.
requests.
They have a tough decision to make in front of us.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, as they should be, asking for these funds, and
Yep.
they'll need to go through and look at what ARPA funding's really for, and see if they can
Yep.
appropriate it in the best way.
Yep. What else we got? So Commissioner, Superintendent, Clerk, Treasurer's additions.
I got nothing.
No cards are good?
I was just, these are my pay. I was putting PJ's new pay on there. So I gotta print up 2 new warrants for you guys just to sign.
Okay.
With the new change, but that's it. I got nothing.
So we could just mention that we had the main break today. We've been, knock on wood, very lucky on main breaks. We've not had very many.
That was early this morning?
We got the call at 1:30,
That's-
high
yeah.
outflow from Sunny Hill Road, and there was 1,000 gallons a minute outflow, which is the outflow plus all the wells are running. So really it was 2,000 gallons a minute going somewhere. So the tanks dropped pretty quick, and so I was in town last night, so I came up quick. I'm like, it's Mass Ave, so I zipped down Mass Ave. Nope, it wasn't Mass Ave. I'm like, wow, it's gotta be Rolling Acres. Nope. And I'm like, Lancaster Ave, I checked Lancaster Ave, all our trouble spots, White Street. Then the guys came in, I had them do Pleasant Street, Electric Ave, and then we started checking everything off. So we all, I'm like, hey, did you guys check here? Because we're all talking on the radios. Did you check? Oh yeah, we already checked over there. We checked here, here, and here. I'm like, well, I already checked those too. So now we're all double checking. I said, let's go to the garage. So we all met at the garage here. We got the big map on the wall with the dry erase board. We have a thing on top. So I said, all right, let's all mark where we all went. So we did. We marked it all. And it's like, okay, so the only spot we haven't gone is the far end of Mass Ave, like Cortland area, Northfield Road, and the backside of Hickory Hills Lake, and then the side streets off of like Richards Way and that stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go down this way. Matt, you go down this way. And PJ, you go to Northfield Road. Boom, found it. So
Where was it?
right at Turkey Hill, Northfield. So it's so when we were here looking, I'm like, we've covered almost the whole time. I said we drove by it. We drove by it, didn't see it. So
2,000 gallons a minute?
Yeah, so
That must have been quite a bubble coming out of the ground.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, yeah, so,
So anyway, so we had all the well. I fired up all Lancaster and Keatings, and we were still losing over 500 gallons a minute out of the tank.
Wow.
So it was taking everything we had. Good thing we found it. If we didn't, that would have been it would have been tough.
What'd you find it about 3 o'clock this morning, 4 o'clock? Yeah. Because it must have been when you shut down, that's when the Passios went off?
Yeah, exactly. So
I-
at the last turn of the valve, boom, there's the alarm.
I was coming back from Maine. I got up real early this morning and I see the alarm come across my phone. I'm like, oh, we got a main break. Because
This one was the
that's the only time that alarm ever goes off is because there's a draw and my thought, Mass Ave.
Yeah.
So, good. And so far we have clearance from conservation on our NOI.
Yes, I have not heard any appeals or anything like that. So
Okay, well,
it
we'll
was
wait
10
and see.
days, so I assume that's 10 working days.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet, but. what
Yeah,
day
it was
that
10
is.
working days, so it
Yeah,
was like,
what day that is.
July 6th, I think I figured it out.
Okay.
And I did look it up, we have to receive a certified letter.
Now,
For
do we get that from DEP or where do
No,
we get it
from the-
From the appeal?
Appealer,
Okay.
they have to send it to Conservation,
Oh.
DEP, and us.
Okay. So I would just keep in contact with Anna. I'm sure she's gonna know.
Well, we should all know at
We
the
should all
same
know at the same
time.
time.
You have to send certified letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
I thought Ty and Bond did a great job meeting all of the requirements and reducing the amount of outflow that we're gonna have to during this test. So, anything else?
Yeah.
2A?
Yeah, 2A.
Oh, 2A. So everything submitted to the state, we're at the 75% to 100%, not finalized plans yet. I spoke to Gary and I asked if we can go out to bid, get this thing moving. When the permit's completed, then we do an addendum. And he wasn't opposed to that idea, but he wanted to talk to his people and see what they all thought, which
What's
I was
the,
supposed to hear from him last week.
why would you do an addendum?
In case there was a change.
Yeah, so they'll have the whole plans put out as to what's submitted to the state, which is approved by we think will be approved by the state. So let's say a state says, oh no, you need to do formal fill in this area.
Okay, so then
Then
we
you
then
would
you
do
do
Then
an
we do
addendum.
addendum to say, the permit change, you now need.
But you could put that out there now and the people could start crunching their
Yeah,
numbers,
because
et cetera, et cetera.
we're 98% there.
Yeah, and I want to get this thing out there now. so
Yeah,
people
I would favor that,
bidding
too.
are
Right.
starting the schedule.
I
I want
go-
this thing done.
We get bids from the banks July 6th for the borrowing. for the temporary construction. So we'll have money,
So we're getting there. I bet if it was time bond, it'd be done.
Yeah.
That made would have been.
Next
just
time.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Not supposed to say that on TV.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So obviously, we have no public comment. 110 Bird Street, we talked about
Nothing.
shortly, but we
Yeah.
haven't gotten anything back, and we're waiting for them to submit
Yep. The official.
the official.
Correct.
The correct
Yeah.
request as per our council, either we sent them back what our council stated to us as far as their request. We went over the Hickory Hills pilot study, waiting on, making sure we can get going. They're planning on August anyway.
We're not sure. I mean, we were all in the pilot study schedule. I have no idea.
Know if that got
what
messed
status is
up.
now, so.
Yeah, because last we heard before when we first submitted, when we had that walkthrough down there, they were like, you tell us we'll be here tomorrow.
I would think
And
for
they-
them.
But now it's.
But then they said,
Now they're
just
fired
so
up
you
other
know,
spots.
we have other jobs lined up, so
Yep,
they can't sit around and wait for us.
Sure can't.
okay. Got anything else?
I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
Sweet. We're all done. Have a great evening.